Today on Across the Fence, we spotlight a UVM Extension 4-H program that combines leadership, stewardship, and not so big buckets of trash. We'll learn what Vermont students can teach us about reducing waste. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Keith Silva, in for Judy Simpson. Taking out the trash is one of the first responsibilities a lot of us had as kids. So who better to turn to than young people when it comes to finding new and creative solutions with what to do with all that trash? Thanks to the University of Vermont Extension's 4-H's Try for the Environment program, a group of 5th graders at Stowe Elementary has found a way to reduce the amount of waste in their school. I was at Stowe Elementary recently, where students have cut the carton and picked up the cup as a way to save the environment. When the noon bell rings, the milk dispenser is the place to be at Stowe Elementary.
We have chocolate milk on one side and I think 1% milk on the other, so it's working out great.
The dispenser is a recent addition in the lunchroom. Students used to drink milk out of cartons.
I used to think, well, our school's really good at recycling stuff, but we weren't.
We figured out on one day there are 244 milk cartons in the trash. That's over, and we estimated that would be 44,000 a year, more 2,800 pounds of garbage.
So we decided that we had to, in some way, to reduce that amount of cartons. And so we thought up of the milk dispenser, and that definitely reduces all of the trash by a lot.
The story of how these 5th graders reduced the amount of trash in their school begins back in December, at a rather messy time. Stowe Elementary was one of several teams of Vermont students who conducted a waste audit. They dug through the trash to determine what could have been recycled or composted instead of being thrown out. The audit was part of a workshop on waste reduction initiatives hosted by University of Vermont 4-H's Try for the Environment program.
And when you do service learning, it really has to be an area that's meaningful to the participant. You start to find areas and topics within the environment that you can structure a program that won't take 3 or 5 years to see results. You really have to have something where the actions of the students will be able to see results within the time frame of a school year. And if they see results from their actions, they're going to be more likely to take action again. And that's what we strive for when we're trying to develop our young leaders.
Once the students completed the workshop, they were tasked to try to come up with an idea to reduce the waste in their school. Micah Green is the leader of Stowe Elementary's Try team.
The students were really excited after the workshop to come back here and be able to look and see how does this apply to our school. And so when we collected, I think, about 80 pounds of trash. And the kids then, we went to work and sorted them, and we sorted them by wings in the building. And then the kids sorted the trash by what can be recycled, what's compostable, and what are we going to end up with just trash. We found out that it was somewhere around 40% of our total trash was actually recyclable or compostable and could be diverted elsewhere. I had the students look at all of the items that we were collecting and really take note of what were we finding the most of in our trash. And milk cartons was by far and away the most.
Green and his team were able to work with administrators and the food service staff to get the dispenser installed. The results were immediate.
We phased out milk cartons and started solely with the milk machine all within this 1 week of time, and we were going from filling up 4 to 5 50-gallon trash bags with just milk cartons over the course of 5 school lunches to now we have a 5-gallon bucket of trash. And there were obviously no milk cartons in there.
It is more expensive to fill the dispenser than to offer single-serve milk cartons, so saving the environment does come at a higher cost. But as the students learned, there are other ways to save.
Sadly, it's more expensive to do the right thing, to get rid of these things properly. But we did find that in doing this, we're greatly reducing our trash. We went down from 3 pickups a week to now we're getting picked up twice a month for our trash. So it's a significant savings.
The amount of trash that's being reduced at Stowe Elementary complies with Vermont's Universal Recycling Law. Starting in July 2015, recyclable materials are banned from Vermont landfills. The students' efforts to reduce, reuse, and recycle sets an example for this community. Ellie Ventura is the Communication and Outreach Coordinator for the Lamoille Regional Solid Waste District.
And I think our Stowe Elementary Tri-Team members voice that really well, that they are going home and composting. They are talking to other people. It takes one person, but that one person can affect so many other people. Since we're all in this together, having these little messengers going out and sharing such an important part of behavior change that we're all going to be expected is a really critical piece to making sure that the message about the law is communicated effectively to get people on board.
These fifth graders have learned valuable lessons about conservation and waste reduction. They've also learned an important tenet of 4-H, learning by doing.
You will help out the environment more when you're older because you can take more charge on what you want to do. And when you do that, it's helping more than just one person. It's helping the whole world and your state.
I think we actually made it fun because sorting trash and compost and recycling is fun. And going up to a milk dispenser and getting milk is fun. So I think just doing that helps people realize how important it is, even if they're not really realizing because it's just fun.
I think it's just really going to help the state learn about trash and that it does affect people.
And if every school does this in the world, we can know that we have a healthy environment and everything will be fine.
Saving the environment, one reusable glass of milk at a time. I'm joined by Lauren Traister. Nice to see you again.
See you too.
Before we start our discussion, our viewers should know that the UVM 4-H Try for the Environment program has been named a 2015 recipient for the Governor's Award for Environmental Excellence. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Lauren, how many teams participated in the Try for the Environment program this year?
Yeah, this was our first year doing the Waste Solutions program, and we actually got 11 teams. Initially, we were just looking for schools within Lamoille County, but we expanded beyond Lamoille County and included Arlington, Coventry Village School, and South Royalton and Northfield. And then we had a couple teams from Green Mountain Tech Center, Lamoille Union Middle School, Stowe Elementary, Stowe Middle School and High School, and People's Academy.
How many kids altogether?
It was exciting. We had 86 teenagers and 14 advisors to those teams. So just over about 100 people involved.
100 people, yeah. In addition to the milk dispenser in Stowe, what were some of the other projects that these teams initiated?
What was really exciting, they had to do an initial waste audit to kind of get a sense of what the waste problem was at their school. And interestingly, the students really zeroed in on compostables. About 72% of our teams focused in on dealing with eliminating compostables from their trash. But there was a lot of creativity in the action plans. Some schools realized they were getting silverware put into the trash, so they got magnetic lids. Others challenged teachers to create green lesson plans. So it was really interesting to see the diversity, even though the majority focused on compostables. Our tri-teams were very creative in coming up with waste solutions.
And we should stress that these projects that they came up with were all generated from the kids. This wasn't the advisor saying, okay, we need to do this. The kids came up with these plans.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from their waste audit, their initial waste audit, they thought critically about what they were finding in their school trash. And most teams were looking at, what was an area that they were seeing a high volume that they could come up with a solution to deal with that. So some schools, as we saw as with Stowe, said milk cartons is a huge problem that was taking up a large percentage of the trash. So they wanted to deal with that. Other schools realized, there was a lot of food waste in their classroom trash. So how do you deal with that? And then some students, were kind of going to the teachers and in the faculty room because they were finding a lot of Keurig coffee containers, as well as coffee cups. And so, thinking about, well, maybe all the teachers need reusable coffee mugs.
Right.
So.
Impact is so important. What were the overall impacts of this program overall?
Yeah, what was really exciting to see was, and what's really important when you deal with service learning projects with young people, is they need to see the impacts of their results. And in a very short time period, and I'm talking 3 to 6 weeks, the 11 different schools were able to see a 20% overall reduction in the amount of waste that they were generating. They were able to divert 43% of the food that was showing up in the trash is now not in the trash and going to composting. So that we saw these fantastic results in a short amount of time.
That's great. And as we talked about waste reduction, is that making sure the right materials go in the right place. So, food goes into compost, recyclables go into recycling. We've got another graphic here showing the impacts of all the teams on getting food out of the waste system. What does this graph say to you?
Well, this shows, so remember I said 72% of our teams focused on the compostable issue. And what the graph is saying is they were very successful in the work that they did. Now, what we can see from this graph is that there still is a lot of food and recycling still in the overall trash, but we're seeing that the action plans of these teams in a very short amount of time made a very big difference. And so if these processes and procedures can stay in place, the implication is at these schools they'll see even larger numbers of change, but if we implement some of their strategies in more schools, we're going to get more compostables statewide out of the trash and into the correct location.
So I guess the other thing that graphic says is there's more work to be done, that this isn't just a one-time thing, it's really behavior change.
Yeah, and what's really exciting is that the tri-teams realized that. They had to do a second waste audit to see the impacts of their action plans, and then they had to write up a reflection on their experience. And many of the teams have already identified goals for next year, and they've identified additional items that they want to try to remove from their waste stream. A lot of the schools, realizing that there's still work that has to be done, has said we need to educate next year. Now that we have systems in place, we need to focus our time on educating the student population and the faculty that there are compost bins, we have sorting stations, this is how you do it, as well as the reason why. So it's really exciting to see that our teams are not just stopping because TRI is done for this year. They really have set some goals for next year and hopefully beyond that as well.
And you mentioned with the behavior change that a lot of the kids realize that you really have to be specific, like you have to put the compost bin right next to the trash bin. People won't throw it out, they won't compost.
Yeah, we had one school that did a mid-action plan check-in with the classrooms where they had put compost bins in, and their initial thought was, we're going to put the compost bins on the counter near the sink to make it easy to wash out the compost bins. Well, when they did that, they realized nobody actually was composting. So they moved the compost right next to the recycle bin and the trash can to kind of make it their own sort station in the classroom, and their results were fantastic. So yeah, there's a lot of thinking that has to go into place, and there's a lot of education, and the teams were really good about checking in and thinking about how to solve the problems they were encountering.
I think they call that learning by doing in 4-H.
They do call that learning by doing in 4-H.
Lauren, we've got about a minute to go. There was it's all about saving the environment and the greater good, but there was an added incentive. Which team took home the SMART Award?
Yes, the SMART Award, which stands for Save Money and Reduce Trash. All of our teams were eligible for this, and the team at People's Academy middle level won the award. As you can see from this graph, they reduced their overall waste by 82%. They reduced their food waste by 98%, and their recycling by 93%. And they were really focusing on their classroom, and their results were just staggering, just so impressive, and they truly are the SMART Award winner.
Well, congratulations to People's Academy. Lauren, how can people get involved with the TRI program for next year?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me at 1-866-260-5603, and also take a look at our website where there's more information, and that's www.uvm.edu/extension/teen leadership.
Well, Lauren, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's our program for today. I want to thank everyone here for making this program possible, and as always, thank you for stopping by Across the Fence.